Welcome back to the Kaspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, we have loads of news topics to cover, so let's go ahead and get right into it. To start, the price right now for Kaspa is sitting at 11 cents, with the current volume sitting at $61.2 million in the last 24 hours. The market cap is sitting at 2.8 billion, and that puts us at a ranking of number 40 in the entire crypto space. The current supply of Kaspa is sitting at 25.7231 billion. This is equivalent to about 89.63% mined. The current hash rate for Kaspa is sitting at 1.31 exahashes, with the highest hash rate sitting at 1.59 exahashes. The current block reward is still sitting at 65 Kaspa. The next reward is going to be 62 Kaspa, and this is going to be happening in the next 16 days on the 5th of March. And the current active addresses for Kaspa is sitting at 509,929. If we go ahead and look at the KRC20 token activity, you could see that the top 20 KRC20 tokens is making up $35.7 million of market cap. This has generated 128.2 million Kaspa in fees. There's about 1,912 token deploys, and the 24-hour trading volume is sitting at $2.72 million. If we're looking at the inactive supply, you can see that supply not moved in over 3 months. It's currently sitting at 61.03% of the supply has not moved. In 6+ months, it's sitting at 46.51%. In 1+ year, it's sitting at 30.98%, making new all-time highs. And 2+ years is sitting at 8.63%. And the 3 years is sitting at 1.89%. Let's go ahead and take a look at some topics here. So first off, Kaspa.com has recently launched KRC 721 NFT support. So now you can go on Kaspa.com and mint NFTs and check them out if you are interested in that stuff. Over here, I wanted to address what is going on here with finance change. So they do have a coin called Wrapped Kaspa, and the Kaspa report user says here, a major Wrapped Kaspa depeg is ongoing. Even before yesterday's flash crash, ERC20 Wrapped Kaspa had been experiencing a major depeg from the price of native Kaspa. In fact, nearly 12 hours before the flash crash, multiple WCAS swaps settled at just 1 cent worth of ETH. And Finance Change did respond to this, saying, "We appreciate your concern. WCAS de facto remains pegged 1-to-1 with CAS. The current fluctuations in the WCAS USDT swap ratio are due to low liquidity on Ethereum caused by large WCAS sell-offs. This is purely a liquidity issue, not a problem with the peg itself. Once the bridge is reopened and USDT/CAS swaps are re-enabled, arbitrage opportunities will naturally restore the swap ratio to its normal levels. The WCAS bridge peg will continue to hold at 1-to-1 as it always has." So why did the WCAS bridge pause? Previously, the DCRM node for bridging was designed to function exclusively with the change system. With the launch of not.meme, the bridge must now support both trading and bridging across the two platforms. This transition requires enhanced security measures, and we are currently in the process of redeploying the bridge system to meet these new requirements. It is not safe to reopen the bridge at this time, and we are unwilling to compromise on security. We sincerely apologize for the temporary inconvenience caused by the bridge being paused. Please rest assured that we are working as quickly and efficiently as possible to restore full functionality. And as of recording, Wrapped Kaspa is still not pegged to the actual real price of Kaspa. It's sitting at 7 cents when the real price of Kaspa is sitting at 11 cents. And I have already made a video in the past why you should avoid the version of Wrapped Kaspa. So if you're interested in checking out this video so you can get a little bit more context and more information about why you should avoid things like wrapped versions of actual coins, that video goes over it. And this is just a prime example of why I would try to warn people to avoid this completely. Next, let's go ahead and talk about what recently happened with Shy, because I know some people were very concerned and were asking me questions on what's going on with Shy. Is he no longer working on Kaspa and all this kind of stuff? So recently, Shy made a post saying, "Hey, Cas community, unfortunately, due to reasons beyond anyone's control, one of the sources funding my Kaspa activity has become unavailable. leaving me with insufficient funding to work on my projects, such as You Go Stag Full Time. You Go Stag is just a book that Shai was working on, and he basically just goes into a little bit more details of how he wants to possibly receive funding. I believe he's decided on possibly doing a Patreon. But this funding is only to work on this book that he was currently working on, and the people who were funding him, which I believe was Kaspa Ecosystem Foundation and Kaspa Media. He goes ahead and clarifies here, saying, "I've been brimming all day with how overwhelmingly positive the reactions to this post are. However, some concerns and questions were voiced that should be addressed. I blame myself for not being clear enough in my post. It was so obvious to me this is a positive development that I didn't think it could be misread." So here's some clarifications. Nothing dramatic has happened. The Ghostag project, which was actually named to UBAG, and the rest of my work were funded equally by Kaspa Ecosystem Foundation and KasMedia.com. Due to circumstances that have little to do with Kaspa, Kas Media has decided to pivot into light mode, and my funding didn't fit into this new vision. This was all done and was going to happen at some point anyway. I never expected them to fund me indefinitely. Their eagerness to fund me for several months was very generous, and I'll forever remain grateful. So that's just a clarification on this. A lot of people think that we're spreading that Shai was fired from Kaspa or Jonathan fired him or anything like that. And I just need to remind you guys, Kaspa is not a company. There's no like CEO, and there's no person on Kaspa that is hired on payroll or anything like that. This is all voluntary donations, and Kaspa Ecosystem Foundation and KasMedia.com are third-party entities that have nothing to do with Kaspa itself, the network itself, and Shai is not fired and no longer can work on Kaspa or anything like that. Kaspa is fully open source. Anyone that wants to look into Kaspa, do some research, mess with code is more than willing to do so without getting paid. And that's how it's always been with Kaspa, because it is fully open source and decentralized. So there's no such thing as someone getting fired from Kaspa, because it's impossible to happen. Next, I wanted to share with you guys a article that actually was released by Shai, and it's called "The Three Woes of Bitcoin's Fee Market and How Block DAGs Can Fix Them." If you're interested in taking a read of this, I may actually do a dedicated video talking about this in the future. But if you are interested, the link will be down below to go ahead and read this article that a lot of people were saying was really, really great to understand the fee market of Kaspa. Next, let's get into talks about listing on exchanges. So first off, this looks like it's just a swap, but QuickX did announce that Kaspa was listed on their platform. And next, one of the biggest announcements that happened recently was the fact that Coinbase has announced that they're going to list Kaspa futures on their platform. Now, Kaspa futures is not an actual listing, but this is similar to exactly what happened with Binance. Binance listed Kaspa futures first, and we still haven't received the spot listing yet, but I'm pretty sure it's inevitable for Binance to list Kaspa very, very soon here. But the fact that Coinbase is listing futures for Kaspa automatically can help us assume that Coinbase is definitely not ignoring Kaspa completely, but because Kaspa is completely fair launched and there's no allocation for exchanges, they have to build their liquidity somehow. And it seems that exchanges will continue to do this by listing futures for Kaspa. I said here that futures for Kaspa on Coinbase, so I'm guessing we're going to not see a spot listing for a whole year or more. And this is just me guessing and speculating because of the fact that Binance listed futures for over a year ago on Kaspa, and we still haven't seen a listing. Would this also mean Coinbase is going to make the same moves? And I kind of clarified myself here because people were kind of thinking that this was super bearish or something like that. And I say here, seriously though, people ask me, is this bullish or bearish? Look, Binance listed futures and it marked a short-term top for Kaspa. Will this happen again? I don't know, but I also don't care. It cannot get any clearer than what we see here. The big money has chosen Kaspa, and since there's no free lunch here, they have to get their liquidity somehow. Short term, will there be pain? Maybe. Long term, it really does not matter. All I can say is don't give your Kaspa up to exchanges on the basis of fear alone. They're happy to get some cheap Kaspa. The price is completely irrelevant at this point. It's being manufactured to let the big money get their positions, in my opinion. To me, this price does not reflect at all what Kas brings to the table. So I'm going to continue my dollar cost averaging strategy into possibly the greatest cryptocurrency since Bitcoin. Study Kaspa. And I cannot stress this enough. Exchanges and other entities are not going to want to buy Kaspa at an all-time high. So they are going to try their best to get the cheapest price possible for them to load up on Kaspa. So whether or not this means in the short term it's going to be pretty painful is up for discussion. No one really knows the future. But all I can say is that if you're selling your Kaspa just on the basis of fear alone, there are big entities at play here that are happy to collect your Kaspa at a much, much cheaper price. And these entities obviously have to operate in a profit. So by no means do I think they're going to be trying to get this Kaspa and acquire it as much as possible to simply just lose because they believe Kaspa is going to go to zero. It just logically does not make sense. And I'm firmly believing that Kaspa is really primed to be one of the best future contenders in the crypto space. Next, I wanted to talk about something that was kind of interesting that happened here, but Robinhood had made this post here, said, "We heard you like crypto." And I decided to respond saying the next best upcoming cryptocurrency is Kaspa. Coinbase made its move by listing only futures. Why don't you front run them and list it on spot before the land grab happens on getting Kaspa? It's fair launch with no allocation, so you got to work to get your liquidity. And after I posted this, they hid my comments from their post, and they also was hiding the comments from other Kaspa users on X under that post. Even Jim over here did the same type of post, kind of just advocating for Kaspa and why it's better than other cryptocurrencies, and they went ahead and hid this post as well. So I don't know. People could speculate on what this means. It could just be literally nothing. They're just blocking random comments. Or it could mean that they just simply do not want people to know about Kaspa. Next, we had an announcement from a platform called Zealous Swap saying, after months of development, we're thrilled to unveil our DEX for Kaspa. Launch planned for Igra Labs testnet Kaspa's game-changing layer 2. Stay tuned. Watch the demo below and stay tuned for more. And so I'm not really too sure how legitimate this platform is. I was already a little bit concerned because they were showcasing this demo using a MetaMask wallet, and Kaspa is not currently on MetaMask. So I was kind of confused on why they were demoing this functionality with MetaMask. I also wanted to point out this response from Zealous Swap when I did mention my concern here. They said, yes, MetaMask has no Kaspa support, but Igra Labs Layer 2 will be EVM compatible. As with any Layer 2, there will be a bridge to bridge assets from the main chain to the Layer 2. And yes, for testing purposes, those tokens are not real. This is just to demonstrate the DEX capabilities. As of now, there is no bridge to bridge assets from Kaspa. So this does make sense because the EVM support is just basically enabling Ethereum support to be on a layer 2 that is built on Kaspa, so that way you can actually bridge assets from both networks. So we're going to see more information on this type of stuff in the future, and I definitely want to make videos dedicated explaining these different terminology like EVM and MEV and all this kind of layer 2 jargon, which is pretty much new for Kaspa since the focus has really mainly been only on the layer 1. But by all means, just be cautious with these new platforms that are coming about because there's going to be many over the course of the next year, since Kaspa is now going to be upgrading to 10 blocks per second. 10 blocks per second is going to make it super optimal for building on top of Kaspa, since it's going to be much, much more faster and be able to handle a lot more transactions than normal. So we're going to see more and more platforms come to life. For example, we have another platform called Kaspa EVM, which is currently finalizing the completion of the Kaspa EVM that's going to be built for Kaspa website. This will most likely be done by the end of next week. A preview of the site can be viewed down below, and this is how the site looks. But the technology, why Kaspa EVM, high throughput, secure. So this basically another layer 2 solution for Kaspa is being built by another team that's waiting for funding. And this is just pretty much going to keep on happening because of where Kaspa is now going to be focused on, which is smart contract support. Next, Kaspa Currency had announced there was a Kaspa Dubai meetup on the 15th of February by one of the ambassadors, and it was a success. And you could see here that there was a group of people in Dubai that met for Kaspa. We also had another meetup that was in Istanbul that did start from another ambassador, and you could see that there was a good group of people here that met up there. And so this is just to show how, Kaspa is global. It is happening around the world. People are adopting it around the world, and people like to meet and discuss it anywhere. And so this is just really good to see for adoption. We also had here another crypto event that Kaspa was able to attend and have a booth. This was in France. And then recently there was another announcement that there's going to be another crypto event in Europe taking place on the 2nd and 3rd of March in Romania, and there is going to be a booth for Kaspa there as well. And one of the things they want to focus on is marketing Kaspa as something to use to purchase your goods and services or your drinks or anything like that because of Kaspa's very fast layer 1. So really cool to see Kaspa attending all these different types of events around the world. Next, Kaspa Currency introducing this new marketing narrative called Powered by Kaspa. So it says Kaspa is more than just the fastest proof of work decentralized digital currency. It's groundbreaking digital ledger technology soon to power real world innovation. Powered by Kaspa is a new initiative to showcase projects building on Kaspa's high-speed, scalable infrastructure. From DePIN to RWA tokenization, stablecoins, and next-gen financial systems, this brand offers the Kaspa ecosystem a unique tag focused on the DLT side of Kaspa Coin. The future of decentralization tech is powered by Kaspa. Link to full article is in the thread. And so basically, the idea here is if you build something using Kaspa, you should use this tag that's called Power by Kaspa just to represent that Kaspa is being used for multiple different things, and it's not just a super fast layer 1. It's also being used to create things like stablecoins and real world asset tokenization. And so really cool to see what the future holds for Kaspa in this regard. Last but not least, this user had created a website called kaspaarchive.com, and what this website does is basically debunking myths and revealing facts about Kaspa, and it does cover a lot of categories. So this might be something really good to send to people when they're doubting Kaspa or they run into certain kinds of FUD that is always brought up when they're trying to discredit Kaspa. You can just go ahead and send them to this website because it does pretty much cover all of the common FUD topics that are always brought up and answers them with facts. So really, really cool website. Link will be down below to see that as well. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. And before we go, if you have not considered getting yourself a Tangem wallet, Tangem has recently put this website back up to get one of their exclusive branded Kaspa cards, and there's 2,093 wallets left. And if you use the code Kaspa Silver at the checkout, you will receive 10% off your order. And Tangem is a really great wallet to secure your Kaspa offline and off exchanges. Whenever you hold your Kaspa on an exchange, you don't actually own it. So it's extremely important to self-custody your Kaspa, and Tangem is a great way to do so. If you do use my code at the checkout, I do receive a commission, and it greatly does support my channel. So thank you again so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and as always, don't be average, be different.